I'm an avid watcher of Paul Murray live on Sky News. In fact, I watch many Sky News programs and generally find them interesting, expect the predicted bias from some of the talking heads on the programs, and accept that slant as where these people are coming from and always will. Nonetheless, I have a great deal of respect for presenters such as David Spears, Kieran Gilbert, Laura Jays, Peter Van Onselen, among others on the channel. But Murray really got it wrong last week and ended up looking quite dorky as a result of his misinformed tirade about SPC workers and conditions, and the rubbish about the government having drawn a line in the sand on corporate welfare. Murray has never been adverse to slamming what he's referred to as the lefties in the media as they run stories, rightly or wrongly, surrendering their accuracy to the political pole that they are attached to. Well, he did it himself in fine style last week and ended up looking quite dorky as a result. Firstly, I've always found it dangerous when journalists become so attached to a political ideology that renders their articles or commentary totally useless to people who want to objectively assess one policy or decision or another. That is why I don't read Piers Ackerman, Miranda Devine, Andrew Bolt or Paul Howes among others, nor do I listen to Alan Jones or Ray Hadley or similar shock jocks. They have nothing to offer me other than a sermon, and that's not journalism. As a person who served their journalistic cadetship in the days of hot metal galley proofs, wearing out shoe leather and covering council meetings to get stories, I learned very early in life that if you are going to sit on your ass in an office and depend on envelopes being dropped on your desk or mysterious third or fourth party emails turning up to get a story, the info's going to be wrong most of the time. Murray had the facts on the SPC awards wrong and was taken to task for it by Janine Perrott, which looked to take him aback and temporarily flummox him. He wasn't the only one. The Australian Financial Review was conned and conveniently ran the pre-2012 EBA that, apart from redundancy clauses for workers employed prior to 2012, bears no resemblance to the real conditions and paid rates SPC workers are employed under today. This has been made abundantly clear by SPC itself, so to coin one of Murray's favourite sayings, what he prattled on about was BS. You can bet that behind the leaking of that document is a far-right nutter from the Liberal Party who would have been incensed at the flack the government was copping over the decision. The next bit of BS from the program was this line in the sand crap about corporate welfare. The very same day Murray was lauding the government for the decision they took the previous week on SPC with his "the government last week drew a line in the sand" waffle, the government had announced a $7 million give-me to Huon Aquaculture in Tasmania that very same afternoon. No mention of this on the program, as that would have moved the line in the sand considerably to the joke level it deserves. If Murray was unaware of the give-me to Huon Aquaculture, he bloody well should have been. That's his job. Of course, there's a looming Tasmanian election, and the Coalition would love to welcome Will Hodgman to the fold of Conservative premiers, and there are some very marginal seats in Tassie. That, of course, makes a line in the sand a very frangible one, and of course it simply does not exist, and it is just plain right-wing rhetoric in political terms, or plain old bullshit in real terms. It was the same give-me that Cadbury's got in Tasmania prior to the election when the Coalition was trying to win votes and seats in Tassie. Nothing more, nothing less. So there is no line in the sand on corporate welfare unless it suits the government to trot the line out and then have the media androids talking in mantras and repeating it on their behalf. Yes, I disagreed with the SPC decision, but I disagree totally with the bullshit excuses the government trotted out to justify it. To have a sycophantic section of the media repeating the chant like a group of Hare Krishnas who have overdosed on alfalfa with their tofu is totally disappointing.